she is not a well person. Like, the world is at my feet. Ha ha ha. This is so fun. This is where my children's grandmother died. Good times. Let me put this online.
Let's be honest. At this point, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's lives feel less like royal drama and more like a Netflix black comedy. Every week, there's another headline, another award, another scandal that makes you wonder if they're trying to outdo The Office in cringe-worthy self-importance. This week's episode, Megyn Kelly, the Sidley twins, and half the royal commentary world collectively calling Megyn not a well person. And for once, no one's exaggerating.
Megyn Kelly has blasted Meghan Markle as not a well person, as even the New York Times turns on Prince Harry over his African Parks charity disaster. But don't worry, nothing to see here. We're still arriving in New York City on the day that Donald Trump basically just single-handedly delivered world peace. The Sussexes are going to claim they are the humanitarian of the years. I mean, maybe we should just laugh. Maybe we should just laugh. And I'm sure we will be doing a lot of laughing today because I am so excited. The Sidley twins are back on Outspoken. Stephanie and Nancy. Where to start? Well, look, let's first look at this takedown from Megyn Kelly, which has got to hurt.
Meghan Markle, she is not a well person. She was over in Paris for the Balenciaga fashion show, and she filmed herself going by the location where Princess Diana died. And here's the video. Her feet are up in the car. She's having a grand old time. She's showing you out the window where she is. And then you see her naked feet crisscrossed in front of her, like, the world is at my feet. Ha ha ha. This is so fun. This is where my children's grandmother died. Good times. Let me put this online.
Stephanie, Nancy, it's sort of unbelievable. I mean, you've got to have so much fun, don't you, in this type of context, given everything that is happening, not just in America, but in the Middle East today, being such grifters that you'll still go ahead and accept a made-up Humanitarian of the Year award.
Shame on Project Healthy Minds for letting them do it. But I don't expect a lot from them. We did a deep dive on them, and they're just full of tech people and entertainment people, mostly NBC Universal. So it is a pay to play. So I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised.
Let's just get to the outrage. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My sister is being very diplomatic here. No, this is insane. Okay.
It is.
I'm sorry. I mean, we have done 6 lives in a row over this, and
the shock
has not worn off of me at any point. This woman who I trace back, she always puts music in her videos, had us listen to the clanking of the glasses in the car, the wind that was coming in from the window. She wanted us to hear everything that Princess Diana went through.
And
stop, Nancy. I get so upset over this. I'm sorry, Dan. She wanted us to hear every second before she went over to that location.
She was headed to the lights you saw when she put her feet up. We ran through Google Earth. I mean, we know for a fact it was the Pont de la Mort Bridge. Her hotel is 10-minute walking distance from the Flame of Liberty. She knew exactly where she was. There's no debate here. There's nothing. And what the heck is Marcus Anderson doing in the front row of a Balenciaga show?
Well, he's clearly mortified with her at that moment too. But no, I just think, just back to what you're saying, I think you are completely correct, because This was so choreographed. And that's why I think Megyn Kelly is actually completely right to say this is just not a well woman now, right? Yes, there's an evil, but there's also something quite mentally deranged about this because the choreography had absolutely been thought through. It was a Saturday night, ladies. Diana was driving through the streets of Paris on a Saturday night just before she died. It was the big exit from the hotel with the paparazzi. She was hoping for a car chase. I mean, this is not a well woman. I think we can fundamentally say that.
So let's start with a moment everyone's talking about. Meghan Markle at the Balenciaga fashion show in Paris. Fine, standard influencer stuff. But then, in a truly bizarre twist, she decides to record herself as a car passes through the area where Princess Diana died. Feet up, smiling, music playing. Haha, this is so fun.
She put herself on Instagram in real time. Nobody does that unless you want people to know your location and where you are at that exact moment. She left the hotel. She could have taken the back entrance to go to the sugar restaurant. She didn't. She wanted Paps to follow her. They didn't play her game. She was hoping that she would catch a glimpse of them.
A motorcycle,
a bike, something when she was going over the Alexandria Bridge. Didn't happen. She was very disappointed probably, but she still needed to get that dig in. Okay. So anybody who says that she didn't know where she was going, okay, let's give her the benefit of the doubt for 1 second. Let's say she wasn't close to any of the landmarks that Princess Diana tragically died at. She's still driving around Paris at night in a moving vehicle.
and we can hear the sounds. Put music behind it.
Which she always does, as you quite rightly point out, because she doesn't want us using her videos usually. So it's a copyright play, isn't it?
Yes.
But in this case,
she wants us to know.
100%. And of course, you've got that context where they're walking into the Humanitarian of the Year awards, but then you've also got the context that even New York chattering classes, right, which are the people who are at this event, cannot ignore what is going on in Africa with Prince Harry, a second charity collapse. The New York Times, and remember, for a long time, they were absolutely allied. You know, the Grey Lady was allied to the Sussexes. Meghan even announced her so-called miscarriage within its pages. But as Tori Bakahai pointed out, this line from the New York Times article, the latest friction casts another shadow over the philanthropic efforts of the prince. And he says, Dumbnuts Harry now being monstered by the once supportive New York Times. About time. And it is about time. But how extraordinary is this? That again, in the context of picking up a Humanitarian of the Year award, the New York Times are finally realizing, actually, this guy is a disaster area when it comes to charity. His wife might be a disaster tourist, but he is a disaster when it comes to charity, especially African charity, because he doesn't actually give a damn. For years and years and years, he used Africa because it was good for his PR.
As if the spot where her husband's mother lost her life was just another Instagram aesthetic moment. Megyn Kelly tore into her for it. She's not a well person. The saddest part in all this isn't even the hypocrisy. It's the waste. Harry could have been the bridge between the royal family and a new generation. Relatable, compassionate, authentic.
Well, and also he loved the continent because that was the love of his life, was live there, and that's where she was from. And she protected him whenever he went there. She didn't, take pictures and post them on Instagram the way Megyn did. And so he loves that continent.
Referring to Chelsea Davy.
Chelsea Davy, I apologize. Yes, Chelsea Davy. And I think what is going on is we're just starting to realize, or the rest of the world is starting to realize what we've known for a long time, especially you, Dan, is that Harry's lazy and he just doesn't want to work. And he's bad at this.
I think people are finally realizing that Harry is no longer going to get help from his daddy and his grandma. He's going to have to start taking accountability for this bad behavior. He's going to have to start working for his supper. He doesn't want that. He wants to live in a bunker playing video games all day. That's his thing. But I mean, the fact that the government of Chad has cut ties with this guy over, let's go over a few things. The resurgence of poaching. Wow. The lack of investment, the breach of agreement, and the disrespectful attitude.
But how come he never comes out and addresses this?
How
come he'll come out and address like a meeting that he had with his dad saying, oh no, it wasn't a rush meeting. He comes out right away. But yet this story with African parks has been going on for, I want to say, a couple of years now.
We're giving this guy, and I say we're, I'm not, sorry, I'm American, but we say we're. They're giving this guy a Humanitarian of the Year award for the
mental health.
Guys, let's remember the tribeswomen of Baka and the abuse they went through.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
Like,
what about their mental
this is
health?
Insane.
What about their mental health? You know, the rapes, the torture, the pillaging that was overseen by Prince Harry's charity, and yet he can pick up that award. I mean, it truly is nuts. But look, you are so right to dig down into why this has happened and why his relatives and the courtiers, the men in grey suits who he hates so much, begged and pleaded with Prince Harry back at the start of 2020. And it was because they knew that he wasn't cut out for this, because he hadn't been doing any of the work. They had been doing the work. Who do you think had really been keeping Centre Bali and African parks and the Invictus Games afloat for the past decade? It was the courtiers, and they appreciated that that was their job. Their job was to make their principal look good, right? And he was a popular royal, so he would show up. And that's all he's ever done. Showing up, shaking some hands, played with some kids. That is what he was good at. And so that's why they didn't want him to go, because they foresaw all of this, not just the commercialization, but also the end of his good work, because his good work was never going to be able to be run appropriately by people who are in the commercial world, because people who are in the commercial world don't really give a damn about these charities. And personally, I don't think Harry does give a damn about Africa. Honestly, I know some people will think that is harsh, but when you think about what he has allowed to happen to both Centre Bali and African parks, and as you say, he hasn't said one word, not one word about African parks, despite being in this elevated position.
And he's still listed as the president. He's
well,
still
he
listed
is.
as the president.
That's the thing.
There has been no accountability and no transparency with Harry.
Nope.
And and now there's rumblings that he's going to start his own African charity.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, how many more can we go?
Well, and also, who's going to fund that? No.
Exactly.
Who the heck is going to fund this?
Nobody's going to do that.
No, that's the problem. He's done. But that's what almost makes this more astonishing, right? Because it's like, African parks is your last chance, Harry. It's your last chance. And you've been doing nothing. As you say, you've been sitting in your underwear playing video games in the Montecito mansion. Like, you could have been spending days and days and days of this a month. You could have been in Africa time and again. But you're a lazy moron, because instead you've allowed this charity to collapse around you. And let's just remember the Archewell filings from a couple of years ago. 1 hour a week these two collectively spend on their humanitarian pursuits. 1 hour a week.
Megyn could have been a modern force for good, an ambassador for women and diversity inside one of the most traditional institutions on earth. Instead, they've turned themselves into punchlines. From Netflix reality royalty to failed philanthropists, they've lost both the palace and the public. And no amount of fake awards or designer gowns can patch the growing perception that behind the glitz, there's something hollow, and maybe, as Megyn Kelly put it, not well.
And
That's
they
what
can
happens.
fly to go see a premiere in Jamaica, so it's not like they don't have a problem jet setting. He can be in Africa as much as he wants to oversee all this, but he chooses not to. It's pretty obvious. The New York Times is onto him now. The second you lose the Times, you're done.
This is collapsing. This is collapsing, and he doesn't know what to do. So he just thinks, well, let's be silent. The thing is, it's a complicated story. It's a confusing story. It involves people in Africa. The irony is that he's actually hoping that means he gets away with this. By the way, I've got to ask you a bit more about this New York trip, though, because Nancy, as you pointed out, how on earth can they have so many fears about security when they actually released their own itinerary?
Yeah, I saw that. It was going around the Sussex Squad's Instagram pages, their fan clubs, yesterday, and I grabbed that, and they had no problem telling everybody the times, where they were going to be, the
location,
the exact location where they were going to be. Look, Dan, I think after her whole Paris stunt, showing herself walking through the hotel, her feet in real time, we knew exactly then where she was staying. She was at the Plaza. It's not hard to figure out those tiles. And then she doesn't care about her security. And I don't know how the heck Harry is going to bring on this case with the Daily Mail. Is it happening in a year? He wants to do this again, right? In the UK, there's absolutely no way they do. Oh, in January, they do not care about their security. Okay, you cannot care about your security and then put your steps in real time. It's impossible. And then give your itinerary in New York City. There is so many tensions going on in New York City right now. It's not the safest city to be in. I would not recommend it if you fear for your life in any way, shape, or form. There's so much politics going on right now. They're not going to care about Prince Harry. So if somebody did mean harm, people aren't going to be that aware of those two. So don't give your itinerary, especially if you have in my opinion, this is my opinion, a made-up stalker that you're going to throw under the bus. God, I know. A Sussex squatty. That's it. That's my opinion.
I had to ask about this. Because it's almost like if there is no real security issue, and there's not, because by the way, Meghan Markle, and again, this is my opinion, but I believe that she was wanting a car chase in Paris. I believe that's why there was all of the real-time Instagram action that you were talking about. That's why the paparazzi were tipped off and briefed, because she wanted a car chase. She had her phone. She was ready to film. That would have made the Netflix documentary, the Diana one. She wanted it. And unfortunately, people didn't play ball because they're not stupid, but also because she just doesn't have the same level of fame as Diana did. It's like, we know we're going to get the Meghan pictures outside the hotel. We're not giving her what she wants. So that didn't work out. And then within hours, you've got Harry making this release to the Daily Telegraph in regards to his stalker. And I believe that this is a made-up stalker too, because what you actually have, and personally I find it bizarre, right? But he has some black women, fans, who bizarrely follow him all over the world, right? And we've seen it happen. They've gone to Nigeria. He's posed up with them. And does that make you weird? Well, yeah, I would argue if you were following Prince Harry all over the world, that probably does make you a bit of a strange person. Doesn't make you a security threat. By the way, can I just remind everyone that there was an actual Islamist terror attack in the United Kingdom last week? The police are prioritizing the actual threats. And so this pressure that then comes on the authorities and Charles and everyone with this leak, it's just like so wrong.
Meanwhile, the royals they left behind, the ones they marked being stiff and outdated, are now the ones looking modern, stable, and genuinely compassionate. Harry and Meghan thought they were writing a Hollywood redemption story. But as it stands, it's turning into something far darker, a cautionary tale about ego, entitlement, and the dangers of believing your own PR. Because once the cameras stop flashing and the applause fades, what's left? Not much, except a crumbling charity, a tone-deaf Instagram video, and a public that's finally stopped buying what they're selling.